There are people out there, when they give you their word, you can take that straight to the bank. But then there's also people out there whose word isn't as valuable as monopoly money. Those are the people I prefer not to work with. But luckily, we have state approved contracts that protect you, me, and everyone involved in the transaction. And in this video, I'm going to show them to you. I've lost a lot of money by not having one of these contracts, and I've also had my butt saved by having one of these contracts. If you've already sold your house in real estate before, then you've likely already seen a contract very similar to these. They update them from year to year. If you're thinking of selling your property in real estate for top dollar, then you have a chance to familiarize yourself with the contract before you actually talk to an agent and get one signed with them. Hey, this is Cody. If you or anyone you know is looking to buy or sell real estate for any of the reasons you see listed on your screen now, or any other, please consider giving me a call. Here are just a few of the services that I offer, and we custom fit each one to fit your situation individually. Here is a group of professionals that I work with to ensure that your transaction goes as smoothly and as quickly as possible. And until next time, the best deal for you is the only deal for me. So a quick disclaimer before we jump into this video, I am not an attorney. I'm just simply showing you what this contract looks like and how I go about filling it out. If you were to ever find yourself in a lawsuit, don't call me, call an attorney. If you do call me, I'm just going to refer you to an attorney. So this is an exclusive right to sell listing agreement, an RF 101. It is a state approved contract. This is actually my third time trying to record this video. I tried to do it last night, but I was too sleepy and cross-eyed to do it. Then I tried to do it again this morning, but for some reason the audio didn't take, and I guess you can tell the audio is taking now because you heard my phone just go off. But for the sake of time, I'm going to just go over a few things very quickly that's repetitive in this contract. A lot of the main points that it hits on is nor I or my brokerage will break the law for you to sell your property. It talks about our duties to you as far as like setting appointments and acting in good faith and promptly submitting offers to you. And a lot of the other stuff I'm just going to go over right now. So right here on line 1, as you can see, that would be the brokerage or the company's name, which if you were listing with me, that would say Exit Realty Blue City. On line 2, it would have the address of the brokerage. And line 3 would be you, your name, the person selling the property. If it's more than one person, you can actually click right here and it'll say and. So if it's you and your husband or wife, or maybe you've inherited the property and it's you and a sibling. Then line 4 would have your address. And we scroll on down to line 8. That would be the legal description of the property. So it would be 123 First Street, Lexington, Tennessee, 38351 zip code, recorded in the Henderson County Registry of Deeds office. And then the next blank would be the book number that the deed was located in. So that would be a 3-digit number, like a 123. And then the next on the page number, it would be located on page. And that's typically a 3-page number, but I've also seen it as a 4-page number. So it might be page 321. The following blank would be your parcel number, and that number would look something like a 3-digit number, a 2-digit number, so it might be like 001.01, and then your neighbor's property would be 001.02. And then it says property is further described as. Now different companies do this different ways. I've seen it several different ways. My old company would say map number, which the map number would look something like 011. And then we would continue to say parcel number, which we would repeat the parcel number again. The company I'm with now, we put the lot and the block number as well as the subdivision name. If it doesn't have a lot and block number or a subdivision name, we just leave that right there blank. Line 16, it talks about all the things that will remain with the property, such as light fixtures and mirrors and things of that sort. Go on down to line 26 here. And it says items that will remain with the property at no additional cost to the buyer. If you were to have like a shop or a shed out back, you can put that in that blank. Or if you want to sell the house furnished with all of your furniture, you can put furniture to remain with the property. If you want to sell it with the appliances, you could say appliances to remain with the property. But you want to be specific. So you would say something like refrigerator, and then the brand and the model number if you can find it. And then on line C, 29, items that shall not remain with the property. In that box, I typically put all personal items belonging to the seller. 32D, it talks about leased items that will remain with the property, so a security system is a good example of that. Go on down to line 36, and that is the listing price. How much are we going to sell your house for? 100,000, 200,000, a million? We would put that in that blank there. And then on line 37, that would be how long this agreement is good until. So if we've done it for today, we can click on here and we can go to 2024 and just say January 4th of 2024. That's when this agreement will expire. And then on down on line 44, that is the day that you authorize us to commence marketing the property. When are we going to start showing it to people and getting it out there and letting everybody know it's for sale? The carryover clause, that is to where, let me scroll up just a little bit more. The carryover clause, that is, so typically you can just put whatever number you want here, 90 days, 30 days, 40 days, however long you would want that to be. And that is if this contract were to expire and you still wanted to sell the property, if I were to bring you a buyer at that point, you would still have to honor this contract unless it says this carryover clause shall not apply if the property is listed with another licensed real estate broker at the time of such contract. So if you were to list it with a different company, I interpret that to say that part of this contract here on line 45 would be void. Line 52, number 4, possession of property shall be delivered, and I always type in right here at time of closing. Line 53, number 5, terms of sale acceptable to seller. That is, how would you accept a payment from the buyer? An FHA loan, a VA loan, a conventional loan, USDA loan, cash, etc. Line 55.6, that is compensation. How much are you going to pay the brokerage to sell your property? Line 62 and 63 talks about if you decide not to sell your property and to rent it out or lease it instead, how much you will pay to the broker to find you a renter. And then line 89, number 7, down here on line 99, it talks about once we post this property to the MLS, when another agent comes and shows the property and has a buyer, they submit an offer that you accept how much the brokerage, not you, the brokerage, will pay the buyer's agent. Now, you want to make sure that this number right here or this number right here, let me just put a marker on both of these very quickly, just so you can see. You want to make sure that both of those numbers match half of what the original number is that you're paying the broker. Think about it like this. If you're selling your property and broker A is offering 50% of what you're paying him to the buyer's agent, and broker B is only offering 25% of what you're paying him to the buyer's agent, which property do you think the buyer's agent is going to push to their buyer? Come on down here. Now there's different MLSs. Some agents are a member of one and not the other, and some agents are a member of all three. So if an agent who is not a member of your MLS, same thing, how much is your brokerage going to pay that person, that agent, to sell the property for you? Foreign Investment Real Estate Tax Act, that is something you want to speak to an attorney about. This is something that's telling you pretty much here that your brokerage is not an expert in this category of things. And then, as I mentioned earlier, this is all the stuff talking about our duties owed to you, what we are good and not good at. We're not experts in home inspections or surveys or repairs or anything of that sort. You understand that. It talks about the dual agency I spoke about earlier, how we have to disclose that to you. We can't be lying about anything on the house. We have to be upfront and honest about it. We can't be giving out your personal information to people in the process of selling your house. And let me click over here to get that 3 and that X off the screen for you. And again, if you decide to sell your house and you call us over here, we will go more in depth over this contract, this agreement here, and really dig into it so you know exactly what it is. Line 259D, number 1. This talks about how the brokerage hereby authorizes Cody Milholland, that would be me, to represent you through the sale of your property. And if you were to have a disagreement with me or you didn't like how I was handling the transaction, you could talk to the broker and have them put a different agent on the job. For the most part, we all go out and we meet people on our own and we bring our own deals, and you pretty much just deal with me directly, and that's typically how I've always done it. I've never been kicked off a transaction, and I've never been given a transaction. Everything I've done, I've went out and gotten for myself. Line 288, home inspection plan or home protection plan. There are companies out there to where you can spend $400, $500, $600 to get a home protection plan, to where if your central unit went out or your roof sprang a leak or something along those lines while trying to sell the house, they would repair that for you. And then typically those warranties will carry over for a year or two for the buyer. That would be a good way to make an incentive to help sell the property. If you do not want to spend that $400 or $500, you just click the little box there. It says home protection plan waived, which that's pretty common. But that would be a great selling point if you want to give your house the edge and getting it to sell quicker. Line 313, just you understand that this is a legal document creating valuable rights and obligations. If you have questions about it, you should review it with your attorney. Neither the broker nor the agent or the facilitator is authorized or qualified to give you any advice about the availability or legal effect of its provisions. By signing this document, you are clarifying that you have read and accept these terms and acknowledge receipt of a copy of this agreement. Confidentiality on line 319, number 17. If there is some sort of confidential information that you don't mind getting out that would help sell the property, we could write it right there, and then your agent could disclose that to buyers agents and help them, maybe help sell your property a little quicker or give your property the edge. Line 324, number 18. If there's anything that's not in this contract that needs to be added to it, you could type it in right here. If not, you could do an amendment to the contract later on down the road. Line 330, number 19. This is a special stipulations clause. Typically right here is where your transaction fee will be. As far as I know, everybody charges a transaction fee. Also, it's fairly common that if you've been trying to sell the property on your own and you've been negotiating with John Brown down the road and you haven't heard from him for a while, but you want to retain the right to sell to John Brown without having to pay the real estate brokerage, in the event that John Brown buys it, then you would put that right here in special stipulations as well. And on down here is where it says broker or licensees authorized by broker. That would be my name there. I would sign it and it would date it. And then broker to firm, it would say Exit Realty again, Blue City. And then scroll on down, it has two spots for the owners to sign, the sellers to sign with your name printed, and it would also be dated there. So that is the RF 101 contract. There's a few more contracts that you have to have. Another document that you will probably see whenever you decide to list your property with real estate is the confirmation of agency status. That's just confirming that, hey, I'm Cody Milholland, I am your real estate agent, I'm designated to you, I'm representing you through this transaction. So line 8 would have the property address again. Line 10 would be your name, line 11 would be my name, and then we would go down here and check the box at line 18 for designated agent for the seller, or if I were to find the buyer for your property, we would check line 19, disclose dual agent for the property. It would also be checked over here. And then also over here would have the buyer's name and then whatever agent is representing them. If it's a different agent from another company or even within my own company, that box would be checked for designated agent for the buyer. Scroll on down and then you would have the seller's signature and date, and then you would also have my signature and date. Then you would have Exit Realty Blue City right here, and then over here on selling company it will be whatever company has brought the buyer to the transaction. So on the listing agreement, it talked about acting in good faith. This is the document to where you have the opportunity to act in good faith. This is the Tennessee Property Condition Disclosure in RF 201. Line 1 will have the property address along with the city. Line 2 will have the seller's names and the age of the property. Line 3 will be the date the property acquired, which we can find on the tax records, no big deal. Do you occupy the property, yes or no? Line 4, if not occupied, how long has it been since you occupied the property? And you would type in the number of years or months since it's been. Line 5 is the site-built home or is it non-site-built home, which is typically is a mobile home. Then you scroll on down here, and then this is where it's pretty much going to ask you everything about the property. So line 71, it starts, check the items below that is included with the sale. Does it have a range? Yes. Does it have windowsills? Yes. No intercom, but it does have a trash compactor. Okay, maybe it doesn't have a trash compactor, but we got an oven, we got a microwave that's going to be a part of the sale. It does have rain gutters, and it has a central unit. So you just check what the property has that will be included in the sale, and what it does not have, we will not check. Scroll on down, it asks on line 85, does it have a water heater? Is it electric, gas, or solar? Garage, is it attached? Is it not attached? Is it a carport? Water supply, do you get city water, well water, private water, utility? Gas supply, utility, or bottled? Waste disposal, do you have a city sewer or a septic tank? And then line 90 asks what type of roof do you have? Is it shingle roof, metal roof? Then it asks the age for the roof. Then line 94, to the best of your knowledge, are any of the above not in operating condition? If you check yes on line in the box on 96, that is where you will type in what's going on. Like recently, I've done one to where I clicked yes, and then I typed in on 96, dishwasher is not in working condition. Line 100, are you aware of any defects or malfunction of any of the following? Interior walls. No, nothing's wrong with the walls, nothing's wrong with the ceilings, nothing's wrong with the floors, nothing's wrong with the windows, nothing's wrong with the doors. Insulation, I'm not sure. I haven't seen my insulation in a long time. Plumbing system, not that I know of, has been working fine. Septic sewer, that's been working fine too. Electric system, nope. Exterior walls, well, there is a crack in one of my bricks, so I'm going to hit yes here. The roof, no, ain't nothing wrong with the roof. The basement, no, ain't nothing wrong with the basement. Foundation, I don't know. I haven't really checked that out. So you would just go through and you would check the boxes on yes or no if you know of any problems with each one of these things. Let me uncheck these before we scroll on down here. I think I got them all there. Oop, no, I didn't. Here's some few more. Go ahead and knock them out. Then if yes, something was wrong with them, here on line 111, you would type it in that box there. Okay, then line 112C, it starts to ask, are you the seller aware of any of the following? Line 1, number 1, substance, materials, or products which may be environmental hazards, such as but not limited to asbestos, radon gas, lead-based paint, fuel or chemical storage tanks, contaminated soil, or water on subject property, yes or no or unknown. Features shared, number 2, features shared in common with adjoining landowners, such as walls but not limited to fences and or driveways, with joint rights and obligations for use or maintenance, yes, no, or unknown. Any authorized changes in roads, drainage, or utilities affecting the property are continuous to the property, yes, no, or unknown. Number 4, when did you have the last survey? Do you know? Unknown. Yes, I know. It was when I bought it in 2001. No, I don't know. Or yeah, no, I don't know, or it's unknown. Any encroachments, easements, or similar items that may affect your ownership interest in the property, yes, no, or unknown. Rooms or additions or structures, modifications, or alterations or repairs made without necessary permits. Number 7, rooms, additions, structural modifications, or alterations or repairs not in compliance with building codes. Is there a landfill on the property? Number 8, any settling calls from slippage, sliding, or soil problems. Number 10, flooding, drainage, or grading problems. Number 11, any requirement that flood insurance must be maintained on the property. Number 12, property or structural damage from fire, earthquake, floods, or landslides, yes, no, or unknown. Then at 138 in that box there, if the answer was to yes to any of them, you could type in your explanation for it. And then on line 140, you can confirm whether it has or has not been repaired. Line 13 is a property serviced by the fire department. Is there such owner subject to is the property owner subject to charges or fees for fire protection, such as subscriptions, association dues, or utility fees? Number 14, zoning violations, non-conforming uses and or violations of setback requirements. Number 15, any neighborhood nuisances or noise problems. Number 16 is subdivision and or deed restrictions or obligations. Number 17, this is where if you have an HOA, it would ask for the HOA information, like the name of it, the phone number, the managing company, how much are your monthly dues, and so on and so on. 18, any common areas such as Facilities such as but not limited to pools, tennis courts, walkways, and/or others co-own or undivided interest in any others. Any notices of abatement or citations against the property on line 19. Number 20, any lawsuits or proposed lawsuits by or against the seller which affects or will affect the property. No one's trying to sue you, are they? I hope not. 21, is any system equipment or part of the property being leased? If yes, explain. Include a written statement regarding payment information. 22, any exterior wall covering of the structures covered with exterior insulation and finish systems, also known as synthetic stucco. If yes, has there been recent inspections to determine whether the structure is excessive moisture acclimation or moisture related damage? 23, is there an exterior injunction well on the property? 24, is the government coming out to test your soil? 25, has any residence on this property ever been moved from its original foundation to another foundation? 26, is this property in a planned unit development? 27, is there a sinkhole on the property? 28, was a permit, when you put the septic tank in, was there a permit to do so? And then 206 is where you, the seller, will sign and date. And line 214 is where the buyer will sign and date, saying that they have seen this and they have read it. Now this is an RF 203, which is a Tennessee Residential Property Condition Exemption, which means the RF 201 we just looked at you would not have to fill out, but we have to have a reason for it. So line 1 would be the property address, and line 2 would be you, the seller. And then it talks about how you still have to act in good faith and disclose all the information you know about the property. And you scroll on down, there's a lot of reasons. Line 64 will have the address on it again. And then line 68 starts and it talks about a lot of reasons of why a person would not have to fill out the RF 201. Several of them are related to bankruptcy. There's one related to divorce, public option, buying the property that's been foreclosed on. The most common one for me anyways is selling property of landlords who are, tired of being a landlord, and that would be box 88. This transfer of any property where the owner has not resided on the property at any time within the last 3 years prior to the date of transfer. And then you scroll on down and it still asks you the questions about the injunction well, planned unit development, the sinkhole, permit for the sewage, permit for a sewage septic tank if you have one dropped on the property. It still asks you to fill out that part, and then you, the seller, will sign this one and date it. The buyer will sign this one and date it. And then the last document we will look at here is the lead-based paint disclosure. If your house was built in 1978 or before, you would have to fill this out. If it was built in 1979 or after, then you wouldn't have to worry about this. But it just asks for the property address, and then you would check one of two boxes. Seller has no known knowledge or records or reports of lead-based paint or paint hazards in the housing, or seller is aware of presence of lead-based paint, and so that's what if you would know. And then on line 26, you would type in the report you have or the proof that you have that there is lead-based paint on the property. And then the buyer has the right to have a hazards test. They would check whichever box they wanted to do, or they would waive the right for risk assessment inspection. And then on down here, again, you will sign it and date it, and then the buyer will sign it and date it, and then me, as your representing agent, I would sign and date, and the agent representing the buyer would sign and date it, and then it would have the listing company, my name printed, the selling company, and the buyer's agent name printed. So that is the last document we're going to look at in this contract. These are some of the documents you should expect if you're planning to sell your house with a real estate agent. If you are planning to sell your house and you would like to interview me and talk about my marketing strategies and all the tools and resources I have at my disposal, please feel free to contact me. And if you're interested in seeing what documents a buyer will typically sign, come on back. I plan on uploading that video sometime within the next few days, and then I will upload a video after that showing an offer sheet and what a document for an offer looks like once it is submitted. So thanks for watching. Remember, if you have any real estate needs, consider giving me a call. at least give me an interview, hear what I have to say. Maybe you would like to work with me, maybe you wouldn't. So that's all for now.